Reggae pioneer Jimmy Cliff has died. He was 81. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music. If you love reggae, you knew his voice even before you got to know his name. It's a voice that carried Jamaica to the world, and a voice that lit the fuse for Bob Marley to create a global explosion. It's a voice that broke barriers long before anyone knew what reggae could become. Today, the music world is mourning a reggae giant with Jimmy Cliff. Actor, activist, and one of the founding fathers of reggae. He passed away at 81. But to understand why his impact is so deep, you have to go back to the beginning. To a kid who left his countryside with nothing but the clothes he was wearing. And of course, a dream. And he ended up changing the sound of the planet. Let's celebrate the life, the legacy, and the revolutionary spirit of Jimmy Cliff. Cliff was born James Chambers in St. James, Jamaica in 1944. The Jamaica where he grew up was one where music was a lifeline. Ska and rocksteady pulsing through the streets. And sound system culture exploded. At only 14 years old, Jimmy Cliff left home. He had no money, no connections, but he had that voice. Bright, soulful, urgent, the kind of voice you don't forget. And of course, he did get noticed. First by producer Leslie Kong, who became a crucial figure in Cliff's rise. Their early collaborations included Hurricane Hattie, which put Cliff on the Jamaican map before he was even old enough to drive. But this kid wanted more than Jamaican fame. He wanted a global stage. That's when this man brought reggae to the world. Before Bob Marley crossed over, before reggae festivals filled stadiums, and even before the word reggae even became internationally understood, Jimmy Cliff was the one carrying it worldwide. His breakthrough album was Hard Road to Travel, and the international hit, Wonderful World, Beautiful People, made Cliff one of Jamaica's first global stars. But his real explosion happened in the 70s. When Jimmy Cliff starred in Ivan in the 1972 film The Harder They Come, he didn't just act in the movie. He helped create an entire cultural movement, and the movie became a classic. The soundtrack is one of the most important reggae albums in history, and Cliff's performance was legendary. Songs like You Can Get It If You Really Want It, Sitting in Limbo, and Many Rivers to Cross did more for reggae's global recognition than virtually anything before it. For many in the US, this film and the music became their first real exposure to reggae music. Jimmy Cliff didn't just follow reggae in the world, he led it there. But interestingly, Jimmy Cliff never let himself be boxed in to just one style. He crossed genres, decades, and generations with ease. He collaborated with Joe Strummer of The Clash, Annie Lennox, Elvis Costello, Tim Armstrong of Rancid, and Wyclef Jean. He moved between reggae, ska, pop, soul, and even rock. His album, The Power and the Glory, helped solidify him as a conscious music pioneer. His song Reggae Night became a global party anthem, and his cover of I Can See Clearly Now, used in Cool Runnings, introduced his music to a whole new generation in the 90s. Jimmy Cliff had the rare ability to be relevant in every one of his decades. And beyond the music, Jimmy Cliff cared deeply about people, about the world. He became a voice for the poor and the disenfranchised, using his platform to advocate for Caribbean youth, economic equality, cultural pride, and spiritual awakening. He didn't just write songs to entertain, he wrote songs to inspire. His lyrics always reached for uplift, dignity, and hope, even when stories were dark. Cliff was the only living musician to hold Jamaica's Order of Merit, the country's third highest honor. Not Bob Marley, not Peter Tosh, not Burning Spear, Jimmy Cliff. He also became one of the earliest reggae artists inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. More importantly, he became the artist that artists looked up to. Ziggy Marley called him a foundation icon. Bono once said Cliff's melodies were crafted by the angels. And countless reggae, ska, and world music performers cite him as the reason they picked up the microphone. So if music had a Mount Rushmore, Jimmy Cliff would be carved in stone. Let's talk about his final years. In the latter years, Jimmy slowed down but never really stopped. He continued releasing music, performing selective shows, and mentoring younger artists. His voice was still wise and warm, remaining powerful even into his late 70s. Jimmy Cliff, as mentioned, passed away at 81, leaving behind one of the most important musical legacies in the history of music in general, easily for the last century. Reggae doesn't exist globally without Jimmy Cliff. His songs are written into the DNA of world music. He crossed many rivers. This man overcame many mountains. And he showed the world that Jamaican stories could travel everywhere. Rest in power, Jimmy Cliff. A true pioneer. A true voice of the people. and a cornerstone in reggae's history. You have any thoughts? Ever meet him? See him in concert? It's amazing how long his career was. Please leave your comments. We read all the comments. We appreciate them. Depending upon where you're watching this, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, follow or subscribe to our channel and share our videos on social media. It makes a huge difference. We'd appreciate that. I'm John Bowden. This is Rock History Music. Take care.